What is up, hustlers? Welcome to the first episode of the Visionary Mindset podcast. My name is Bruno, and I'm here with my man Vasco. And today's topic, the first ever topic of our podcast, will be social media. And the reason why I want to address social media is not only because of its evolution over the last 15 years, but also about its pros and its cons.
Hello everyone, how are you? I would like to start this first episode with a quote from Sean Parker. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's one of the first investors for Facebook when it was first created. He said that the point of the Facebook social media is to, and I quote, consume as much time and attention as possible, end quote. And I would like to ask Bruno what he thinks of this quote and what's the meaning behind it.
So you see, I think that in the beginning, Facebook didn't want us to be connected with people because you see, social media promises connections that actually disconnect us. And each minute you spend on social media, they get a lot of money through adverts. But people need to understand that it was never to connect people, but to make them trapped and make money out of those, let's say, connections.
So, Bruno, we made a poll on Twitter to ask our followers for a few things, and we got some interesting answers. I asked them, what do they use social media for? And most of them told me that it was to spend time. An interesting one. That. What do you think about it? Should they spend time? Should we spend time on social media?
You know, Vasco, I think that if you spend your time well on social media, I think you can learn a lot from social media. But the problem is, more and more nowadays, we see a lot of toxicity on social media, especially in Twitter. As whereas before it was on Instagram, the people from the toxicity from Instagram went to Twitter, and I think that it wouldn't be bad at all if we had more love in the world, if people shared more love, if people supported other people more and more, because what we see is a lot of people getting hate, you know, and sometimes instead of being positive, it turns into a negative. But because people are addicted to it, they just continue to go through it.
I see, Bruno, and I agree with you. Twitter is actually really toxic if you follow a certain kind of people there, but it's also useful for other things because we can have like an instant view of the world there, and there's not such thing as a filter to expel hate speech and things like that. So we have the opinions of people that we want to know. Another interesting thing is that you asked people on Twitter, and I saw it, that what was people's fear on social media? What answer did you get from that?
So on my poll, I got a really interesting response as well, which is getting hate. And this actually doesn't, it's interesting, but it's not a surprise because, I mean, this society nowadays is really moved by social media, especially our generation. When we are born, we are already brought up with all this social media network, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, so many others as well. I think if you don't get accepted, I think if you get hate, you know, I think there's a really bigger probability of you not liking yourself. And I think that if you really want to be successful in social media, and I'm not saying in terms of likes and followers or comments, if you want to be successful in terms of not affecting you as much, you should start by loving yourself. You know, you should really start by loving yourself, because then all those likes and those follows and those comments, they become an extra. They become like a bonus.
Bruno, I do agree with you. I do agree with you in your point. I think that people should love themselves first because it shows on social media when we are being honest or not. Sometimes it's difficult for other people to look at us, to look at our pics, to look at our tweets and see that we are passing through a bad time. But in fact, some people are passing through a bad time, and we should try and help when we can because some people are honest on social media. And I would like to talked about a specific point that it's about Instagram in most part. It's about posting pics. So most of us post pics on social media. It's the norm. Our fathers do it. Everyone does it nowadays. But I would like to ask you, in your opinion, why do people post pics on social media?
All right, this is interesting because about what you said, I agree as well. We have honest people on Instagram as well, and I in terms of like attention, I think that it is what most people put pictures on, and sometimes on Instagram, and sometimes most people don't even realize that, but most times we only post pictures to get attention, you know, because even though you still say, oh, okay, I only post pictures on Instagram because I like this picture. You know, I took this picture and I was like, oh, this is good. I can post this. If it wasn't for attention, you would post a picture and you wouldn't check for comments, you wouldn't check for followers, and you wouldn't check for likes. But my question for you, for the audience, is it real attention though, or is it just an ego being fed from people that you don't even know? Not saying generally, obviously, because your friends can comment, they can praise you and say, "Oh, what a beautiful photo." I mean, is it real attention though? For me, real attention is when you're in your hard times or even in your good times and you go out with people and you have a chat with people. And in your hard times, they're there to argue and they're there to help you be a better person and to advise you how to be a better person. I think that's real attention.
I do agree with you, Bruno. I think that's truly what attention means, and that takes us to what a friend means, but that might be a talk for another episode. I would like to add one thing though. As you said, we post pictures when we should post them because we like them. And that raises the question, in my opinion, why don't we just take pictures and save them in our gallery? It works the same way as Instagram. If you look at it, you take it and it stays there. So I think that Instagram is always and mostly used as a means to get attention some way and to show other people what we are doing, how we are doing it, and sometimes a way to flex a bit on everyone. And that takes us to the next topic, that is social acceptance. So what do you think that most people, most mentalities think about social acceptance nowadays?
So nowadays, I think there is more and more a need of approval, and most mentalities nowadays are I need to look good and better so the society can accept me. And the thing is, we do this unconsciously. And if you doubt that, just ask yourself this simple question: why do you post pictures on social media? Why do you take pictures? And in your mind, there is not a thought of, all right, I can take this picture, but I can save it on my gallery. You know, I don't need to post it on Instagram. But on our mind, we are like, I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to post it on social media. We don't have this mentality of, I'm not leaving this beautiful picture, this perfect picture on my gallery to gain dust. If I'm taking this picture, I'm posting this picture. Do you know what I mean?
I do understand what you mean. I do. And as I said, it's the mentality of people to want to be accepted and to belong to society because it helps to belong to society. We normally get more opportunities if we fit in, even if that is against our desires or against our mentalities, but it definitely helps.
Peer pressure can really destroy someone's mentality, you know? We see more and more people trying to be something that they're not and trying to look in a way that they don't look and do things that they don't do just to impress others instead of showing their real selves. So this is already a counter, you know? Show yourself more to the society and see who truly likes you from what you are. So you get a real acceptance, you get a true love, a true loving acceptance, you know what I'm saying? If you show how others want you to be, they will always love you. I think that's more than obvious. But if you show how you are, you get a different response. And there needs to be at least one true person that loves you by what you are. And believe me when I say it's better to have one true person than having 1,000 fake ones next to you.
Yeah, that's for sure. We need to have real friends we can depend on, you know. We need to know when we are in our bad times, who can we talk to and what we and who can help us. That's the most important. Who can help us because we can't do everything by ourselves. I would like to then go back to something I think it's important. In Instagram mostly, there's that saying and we post pics and we get likes and comments, whatever that is, and we get messages. But the most addicting part of Instagram is the stories. And that leads us to the fear of missing out. Can you elaborate, Bruno?
Yes, of course, of course. So we look at other people's stories on Instagram, just like you said, and we think, damn, I would love to do funny stuff, just like my friends are doing. Instead, I'm just bored in my bed. I'm not doing anything. And I'm just sad because, I mean, my life sucks and others' lives are amazing. Again, we don't realize that these thoughts and these actions, these emotions that we let out, they make us more anxious and sad, and people start to feel irrelevant. The thing is, people spend so much time up to date with the new trends that they forget what it's like to have self love and what it is like to focus on themselves. Because when you're looking at other people's stories, you're not, I mean, it's not that you're not focusing on yourself, but you could be rather doing other things than looking at others people's lives, you know? Imagine, I do this a lot. I don't usually look at other people's stories, but if I'm not doing anything at all, anything, because I have time to go on social media and see my messages, or I have time to check my emails during the day, I'll go and search and see like people's stories and everything. But when it's time to do the work, I'll do the work and I'll leave social media aside because social media is not that important as many people think. So to counter this, and I think this is a huge, huge counter, I think instead of people scrolling a huge amount of times just to see what others are doing, to stalk others, focus on yourself. you know Go learn something, read a book, you know do sports, improve yourself mentally, because believe me, I used to be like that, and I didn't got any smarter by looking at others lives. And improving yourself matters much more than spending all day on your phone looking at other people's lives and not doing anything productive.
I agree with you. I really do. And I would like to tell you something else. See the news. It's important. Just don't go on the web and look news up. That does not work mostly. You'll get really shitty stories. Don't read stories on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. They're mostly fake. Go and improve yourself. Improve your view of the world. Open your mind up to other cultures, other stuff. It really makes you a better person. And I would like to go a bit off topic and talk to you about something I saw yesterday. It was time to go to bed and I was watching a movie. And there was this one character who had a son, and his son was talking to a girl. And he said, "So I'll text you later today." And the father was like, "What? Why don't you just call her? Why don't you just use your cell phone to call someone? Or go to someone's house and talk to them personally?" That's another reason why people use social media. They get a cell phone and they text someone because why not? Make an appointment, go out for dinner, go out for a coffee, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, that we should take away that online communication thing, dial it back a little, use it when it's needed because it's really sometimes needed in this time with the pandemic. It's being really useful. But sometimes we need to talk person to person. We need to look at each other, to be honest, to see the emotions we are transmitting. And I think people are losing that self of being real. What do you think of that, man?
Of course, man. Of course, man. I totally agree. I mean, I remember when I was a kid. Actually, my father told me this. I got a similar situation. Not about watching a movie, but being on a restaurant. You know, I went to the mall and I was actually eating McDonald's, and I was with my father, and we finished our meal, and I was at my phone, and it was like, "Why you at your phone?" And I was like, "I'm playing a game." And he was like, "But we're having dinner together. Why can't we have a talk?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm not used to that, but yeah, sure. Why not?" And I was a kid. So the point is not, oh, you were a kid, you know, you had so much to learn. The point is we are being raised like this, not being able to have a talk face to face because we are at our phones all the time. What is the point of you making an appointment with someone, or just say, "Oh, do you want to go for dinner?" And that person says yes, and you eat, but then you're at your phone all the time. You know, not only that's disrespectful, that's anti-socializing. You know, and again, I'll say, social media promises connections that actually disconnect us, and we are so addicted to this lifestyle because social media became a lifestyle of so integrated it is on our roots, on the world roots nowadays. So yeah, man, I think that we can have a pretty good life without social media, even better than we have now, but that this addiction doesn't allow us to see that vision.
I see what you're saying, and I agree completely with you. I would like to talk about one more topic before we conclude with this. Do you think that there is a certain age in which we should tell our kids, don't use social media, don't talk to people online, go out with your kid friends and play outside, everything like that? Because nowadays we see if we are at a restaurant and we look and they are eating, and there's the kids playing in the cell phone, playing games or whatever they're doing, and the parents don't care. They're just there and waiting for the kids to stay quiet, to stay still, and eat their meal. Do you think that we should tell kids not to use the technologies and to be more like a real person? Do you think that influences them as an adult?
You know, this is a tricky question, you know, because let's be real, we're still 18, almost 19. We are far away from being parents, you know. But from the examples that I see from other people, I think that, you know, maybe your kid's crying and they want the phone, you know, because they're already used to being at the phone, and parents cannot like they like they just give them the phone so they stop crying. But I think you shouldn't do that, you know, and I think you shouldn't allow your kid to be at the phone as much time as they want, because that is really unhealthy for them. It kills their imagination, you know, and kids are meant to have a good imagination, to dream, you know, to it's part of them, it's part of their age to be like that. But still, I think that parents at a certain age must have a serious talk about social media, and as well spread awareness and let themselves figure out why do they want to be on their phone, why do they want to check other people's lives, and why do they want to take pictures and post them. But what is really intriguing and annoying at the same time is parents competing with each other in social media to see if their kid can get the better future. And what's most annoying of all of it is parents forcing their kids to practice sports that they don't want, take classes that they don't want, so they can be an A plus student, get into the best colleges, and be a champion athlete. But parents need to understand that the only person losing here is a child. Parents are so focused on wanting to become a trophy mom or dad, they don't even let their child enjoy their childhood. And what happens is, later on in their life, the child turns into an unhappy adult because he is not doing what he loves. And that transmits that to their kids and so on. Social media, again, is an addiction also because you have the power to do whatever you want. Nobody's telling you or ordering you, at least verbally. So kids can feel and have a huge ego and gain a certain arrogance because because of that, leading to lies.
I do understand your point of view, Bruno. And I do agree that parents need to talk to their kids, but nowadays it's getting harder to do so because most parents from this generation onward will kind of be kids themselves. And I put ourselves in that case. I think we are not as prepared as other generations were before to have those kinds of responsibilities. For the people out there listening, they should think, oh, these guys hate social media. They don't like it. They don't use it. We use them. We use social media. I love Twitter. I love to see what people are talking about, see the discussions, participate in some of them sometimes. But I would like to tell the audience and tell you and tell everyone something. You need to be careful in what you put in social media. Nowadays, if you go looking for a job, you have an interview and you are there talking to the boss. And he's looking for your social media. He's looking for what you think about live on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it is. And you need to be careful because you can't erase your digital footprint in 3 seconds before the interview. You need to show the world your point of view. Of course, you have that right, but you need to be careful in how you show it. And always tell the world it's your opinion, no one else's, and tell them they have their own and everything like that. I know it's kind of being politically correct, but nowadays it's important to do so, in my opinion, as well. Bruno, do you agree with me?
Of course, I agree with you. I think how you use social media could really change the world. And as you said as well, we don't hate social media. We love social media actually. But the way we use it, and I'm not talking about our way, me and my partner, I'm talking about the way it could be used. Because there is nothing wrong in using social media. I'm not against it. And how we decide to use it really is key. And what I value in social media is that it's people that are genuine, people that not only post their happy moments, but they also post their bad moments. There is no fake persona, there is no perfection in their profile because perfect people don't exist. And no matter how much likes, followers, or comments we have, we always have our demons, and we can't hide our demons by going into social media and showing others what we are. Because, matter of fact, and the truth is, you can lie to other people, but you can't lie to yourself. You can't look in the mirror, face to face in the mirror, looking directly in your eyes, and say that you're fine and not feel a tiny little discomfort on your conscience because that doesn't function with anyone else. Another thing is social media shouldn't control us because in the world we live in, we are addicted to social media. And whatever the addiction is, we become a slave for that addiction. We shouldn't see social media as our downfall as well because what happens most times is social media can harm your professional life because through time it damages your concentration. And in the future, that is what will make you irrelevant. It also increases the probabilities of depression because of loneliness and the thought that you're never enough. But it also has its pros, it also has its positives. Like I said, it can be helpful. And one of the reasons it can be helpful is because of social networking. For example, LinkedIn in order to communicate with people and evolve meaningful connections. Social media is really good because you can also put a lot of bad things there, but you can turn those bad things into positive things. You can use social media to unite the world. if social media is a tool that nowadays has a huge impact on the world, then you can use that as our advantage to spread awareness. Instead of having so much toxicity in Twitter, we can use Twitter to be better as humanity.
Yeah, Bruno, I share your point of view. And with this, we are reaching the end of our first ever episode of the Visionary Mindset podcast. Tell us what you thought about the first episode. Hang with us because I know our English is not like top tier and our audio quality is not perfect, but we are doing our best at the moment and we'll keep doing it and we'll keep improving. And that's what matters. How do you think it went?
Man, I was having fun, man. I was having fun.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it went pretty well. It went pretty well, and this is what matters, you know. Always improving, always being better as a person, you know. Always defining our always being in the uncomfortable positions because safety never makes us improve. And if you never think that, and if you think that you got a minimal improvement from safety, that's just an illusion that life gives you. And then when life hits you, that's when it really hurts. And believe me, you wish you been in the comfortable zone so you could know how to fight that moment. But I hope you liked it. So yeah, we will try to bring an episode 2 weeks if we can, and if we are lucky, we'll bring it once in a week. And yeah, like I said, what matters is the improvement, and that you liked it, and that you like, and that you love it, and that you can evolve from this and show and improve as a person, because that's the aim of this podcast, is to improve.
Indeed, Bruno. Our goal is to improve, and I'd like to leave you with a tease for next episode. The topic is the benefits or not of waking up early. Keep hustling, guys.